We have made it to the end of the proper time of the year. So the church year, the church calendar is divided into two large categories, the proper time of the year and the ordinary time of the year. And that proper time of the year is where we have an annual telling of the life of Jesus. So we start with Advent as we are expecting Jesus' coming, and then we have the Nativity where we celebrate Emmanuel, Christ with us. And then the Epiphany, where the wise men greet the Christ child. And then that goes through then the season after Epiphany, where we follow his ministry, and then Lent that leads up through the Passion, and then Holy Week, and then leading then to Easter. And then as we've talked about in the last several weeks, we have 50 days, the great 50 days of Easter. And then that culminates on Pentecost, the 50th day, when the Holy Spirit comes and lights on the disciples. And Pentecost has long been a favorite feast day for artists. And I think it has something to do with artists really depending on the Holy Spirit to give inspiration. And that idea of flickering tongues of fire it captures the imagination of painters and poets and certainly musicians. So there's a lot of beautiful art that surrounds this feast day. And one of the most important melodies that is associated with Pentecost is a Gregorian chant, Veni Creator Spiritus, Come, Creator Spirit. Again, you can understand why artists would be so sensitive and sympathetic with that theme. So that ancient Gregorian melody will sort of weave its way through our liturgy on Sunday. It will make its first appearance in the organ prelude, which is sort of a dreamy prelude on Veni Creator Spiritus by the American composer Libby Larsen. It starts off with these sort of wispy flutes in the treble, and then you hear the melody. And it builds to a pretty big climax and then recedes down, so sort of having a momentary vision of the Spirit with us. At the offertory, the treble choir will be singing an anthem by another American female composer, Catherine Burke. And she is now the organist and choir master at the Episcopal Cathedral in Portland, Oregon. And this is a beautiful piece for treble voices using a text by George Herbert. Or as we've talked about, he probably said Georg Herbert, but George Herbert, who was a late Renaissance poet in England and Church of England clergyman. And this is from a poem called Whitsunday, which is another name for Pentecost. The poem is, "Listen, sweet dove, unto my song, and spread thy golden wings in me," inviting the Holy Spirit to come in. And Catherine Burke does a really interesting thing. She starts off citing that melody, that Gregorian chant melody. And then has this beautiful melody for the treble choir to sing that sort of plays on some of the motives of the Gregorian chant melody. Really beautiful and lovely, intimate sort of take on that visitation of the Holy Spirit. We'll also, at the sequence, be singing like the Murmur of the Dove Song, which is one of our favorite hymns about the Holy Spirit. But then we also have a lot else going on. We know that it's Memorial Day weekend. We will be honoring those who have laid down their lives for us, and we'll be singing a Memorial Day hymn. We also have a baptism here at 10:30 if you're downtown. It's also the first Sunday of Lakeshore. So there is so much going on at St. John's this weekend. We hope that you will catch some of that Pentecostal fire, if you will, and worship with us and invite the Holy Spirit in. So we'll have chapel service at 8 o'clock, then we'll have Lakeshore service at 9 o'clock, and then in the Cathedral Church we'll have baptism and Pentecost at 10:30. We hope that you will visit us as we worship this weekend.